For our final trip, we're back again at Japan Center Air International Airport, an incredibly convenient hub that allows you to access all of Japan's central prefectures and is an easy port of entry with hundreds of flights coming in daily from all over Asia, America and Europe. My name's Julian, YouTube creator and prolific tea addict, and putting up with me on this trip will be GaijinPot writer and fitness fanatic Lena Handy. Having already experienced the high-speed boat and rental car options on our previous trips, this time we'll be travelling by train, and finding our way to the station couldn't be any simpler, as the platform is directly connected to the main lobby of the airport. Although we're starting in Gifu, the second half of our trip will see us travelling to Nagano Prefecture too. Here's a quick look at all the locations we'll be visiting over the next few days.
Hey, so we're at Yoji Temple and we're about to take part in a traditional tea ceremony. So let's go inside.
Tea ceremonies are one of Japan's most iconic and internationally known traditions. In Japanese, this practice is called sado, meaning the way of tea. It's all about a strict choreography of set moves that are slow and calm, but carry heavy meaning and are focused on the principle of respect. Ceremonies like this are a great way to experience Japanese culture in a more personal manner, and it certainly doesn't hurt that the tea is delicious too.
Okay, so that was the tea experience, so good. And now we're gonna go to Ochiai-juku. Let's go!
Having had such a relaxing time drinking such passionately prepared tea, we endeavour to remain on a course of relaxing activities for the rest of the day. From one temple to another, we're now off to attempt the old art of Fuji with the expert guidance of brush maestro and head priest Koyu Onishi.
Lee?
You know, when I was watching him do it, I would notice he would stop at the end, kind of like make certain parts thicker, right? So I tried to. I'm just not as good at it, but
nice.
Good teacher.
Good job.
If you're wondering about how your name might be written in Japanese, then don't worry, as Mr. Onishi will gladly select kanji that match the phonetics of your name and then teach you how to write them in a few easy strokes. And there's no need to worry about the language barrier either, as Mrs. Onishi was able to guide us through the entire experience in perfect English. Our attempts were far from flawless though, and it wasn't hard to see why it takes Buddhist priests like Koryu-san years to perfect the form of every character.
Hey, we're here in Ochiai and we're on the Nakasendo. So here we have the stone path. It goes for 840 meters through this beautiful forest and it's full of cedar trees.
Nakasendo is one of 5 large highways constructed at the beginning of the Edo era to allow the Tokugawa shogunate to more easily mobilize troops in a bid to keep reign over the country. In modern times, this road is still used and is 170 kilometers in length, stretching from Kyoto all the way to Tokyo, which was once known as Edo City. This particular 800-meter section of the route is off limit to cars and features some of the original stones that were laid down over 400 years ago. On day 2, we continue our adventure travelling down the Nakasendo, stopping off at some of the towns along the route. First up is Magome-juku. This is perhaps the most famous of the 69 postal towns that are dotted along the entire stretch of the road.
Okay, so we just walked through the town of Magome-juku, which is on this hillside. If you look out here, you see the landscape of Nakazugawa. And then over here to my left is what's called the Honji. And this is where all people of high status like daimyo and samurais would come stay during the feudal age. But now it's a museum, so you can come check it out here.
Magome-juku looks like a town lost in time and very much prides itself on that classic Edo-era aesthetic. As you climb the main road, which unfortunately for my lungs is situated on a rather steep hill, you'll pass by all sorts of local stores selling specialty treats from the area. Considering it's so hot today, we're definitely going to need something refreshing for lunch.
Okay, so we're at a soba shop now in Magomejuku, and here we have a vegetable soba. So they're buckwheat noodles, perfect for a hot day because it's super refreshing and cool, and it's chock full of vegetables, so it's super healthy as well. So good. Okay, so we just walked through the town of Magomejuku, and now we are about to come up this path. This is Tsumagojuku. It's 7.7 kilometers. Probably going to take 3 hours to hike, but we're going to do it now. Okay, let's go.
Approximately 2 kilometers down this trail, you will no longer be in Gifu and have arrived in Nagano Prefecture. And while walking is generally a pretty laid-back affair, you never know when things might take a turn for the unexpected.
Okay, so we're walking along the trail, and you'll see here there's a sign, and it warns against bears. So if you happen to see a bear, just run over here, ring the bell. Hopefully it'll scare it off.
If you manage to avoid the bears and make it to Tsumagojuku in one piece, what you'll find is a town that in a lot of ways is very similar to Magomejuku, but with one relieving difference. The path here is flat. As the original purpose of a lot of these towns along the Nakasendo was providing a rest stop for daimyo and samurai on the march, they all tend to feature some of the same key buildings.
Okay, hey, so we're in Tsumagojuku, and this is another town on the Nakasendo Trail. Just like Magomejuku, there is a rest house called a honjin, and this one in particular was rebuilt about 25 years ago. So all of the original details have been restored.
After an ungodly amount of walking, staying in a honjin is exactly what my body needs. Unfortunately though, as we're not actually feudal lords, we'll just have to settle for the next best thing instead. Either way, we're going to need all the energy we can muster for the final day's activities.
Okay, so we're here in Ina City in Nagano, and right now we're in Miharashi Farm, and there's lots of outdoor activities that you can experience. You can do fruit picking. Another new one is mountain biking, which is what we're doing right now. And we have our mountain biking guide. He's been doing this for over 20 years. Keisuke-san will explain a little bit more about how you can experience mountain biking.
はい、ここがマウンテンバイクトレイル、中央アルプスマウンテンバイクトレイルと言います。この春オープンしました。全長はだいたい3キロぐらいになります。初心者の本当に自転車初めて乗るような子供でも楽しめるような起伏のある楽しいトレイルになっています。
Since Keisuke-san did such a great job of explaining, why don't I just shut up for a minute and let's get on with some serious action.
Just made it to the halfway point. The first half up the hill, it's pretty windy. It's a little bit more, I would say a little more difficult, but since we're at the top of the mountain now, it's all downhill from here.
Biking around dirt tracks on a hot day is a surefire way to work up an appetite. Good thing we're not far from the restaurant Meiji Te, which is home to one of Nagano's most famous dishes, sauce katsu. Fresh and crispy pork katsu cutlets are soaked in an original sauce and then served up with a portion of rice and miso soup. Having conquered the dirt trails of the forest and refueling our bodies with a hearty portion of sauce katsu, it's now time to tackle a mountain. Not on a bike, of course, that would be ridiculous. Our final activity of this trip will be a rather pleasurable cable car ride to the highest point in Nagano.
So we're here in the city of Komagane, and we just went up this ropeway all the way up to Senjo-jiki Station, which is the highest station in all of Japan. So you can see out here, look at this view.
Senjojiki Cirque is the highest flatland in Japan, sitting at a rather impressive 2,600 meters above sea level. This rock shelf is a feature of Mount Hoken and was created by glacier movements roughly 20,000 years ago. From the top on a clear day, we're told that you can even see the peak of Japan's tallest mountain off in the distance, Mount Fuji. The cable car station provides you with an area to rest if you just want to enjoy the view, but you can also take a fairly leisurely hike around the main path. And for those of you looking for a little extra challenge, there's also a trail to the summit.
We've made it to Senjojiki Cirque. The air is cool, the view is incredible, and if you're up for the challenge, you can go up this trail about 50 minutes and it'll get to the summit of the mountain.
With epic views, there's really no better way to end such an amazing time in Nagano. Both prefectures have an incredible amount to offer and are forever intertwined by the flow of the Nakasendo. If you'd like to read more about all the places we visited on this trip, then you can find a link to Lena's article down in the video description.